a comfortable seated position. It might be cross-legged, legs out in front or legs to the side. You can either have palms up, thumb and first finger touching if you want to receive, or palms down for an inward focus. Closing the eyes and lengthen through the spine, the chin into the neck. Breathing in and out through the nose. Notice the cold air on the nostrils as you breathe in, and warm air as you breathe out. A gentle rise and fall of the chest with each breath. Breathing into the ribs, the side and back of the ribs. Having your mind, your intention, what you hope to achieve from this session. And keep this thought in your mind through the rest of the class. Let the noises around you softly come and softly go. And if your mind starts to wander, then bring the attention back to yourself. And then start to circle the thumb on the first fingers. Moving on to the middle fingers. the ring fingers, and finally the little fingers. Blinking open the eyes and take a deep breath in. And softly sigh out through the mouth. Take another deep breath. One more time. If you're in a cross-leg position, just change the position of the legs for a moment. And we're going to come into rotation, opposite hand to knee. We're not pulling ourselves around, we're letting the core move us through the mid-back, the upper back, the neck and the head. The gaze over the shoulder. Coming back to center, that arm that was behind, bring across the legs as we stretch over to the side. And rise, moving into rotation on the other side. Coming back to center, the arm that was behind, bring across the legs, and as again we stretch over to the side. And release. Taking the legs wide, you can either be sat up on your blanket or down onto the mat. Feet flexed. We're bringing the arms out in front. Imagine you're holding a wooden spoon. And we're going to start to slowly circle in the same direction. Imagine you're stirring a big pot of porridge. As we start to ease into this, we can take a wider circle, getting around the edges of the pot, around by the feet. Forward, around, leaning back and around. And then take that movement in the other direction. As big or small as you like. Releasing the arms now. Take a breath in. As you exhale, push the palms away up to the sky. Release the hands, roll the shoulders back and bring the hands to the floor, the palms to the floor as we open the chest, the gaze to the sky. Coming over now onto hands and knees into cat pose. Hands under the shoulders, heel of the hand and fingertips to the floor, the knees under the hips, and we start by rounding the spine up to the sky and then dropping the belly to the floor as we bring the gaze forwards. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Keeping this movement going in time with your own breath. And if you want an inward focus, you can do this with your eyes closed. On your next exhale, bring the bottom to the heels, and we're stacking the fists one on top of the other as we bring the forehead onto the hands. Feeling the stretch from the lower spine, along the spine, the chest releasing closer to the floor. And again, we're breathing into the ribs, the side and back of the ribs. Coming back onto the hands and knees. And then taking the right hand under the left armpit, we're bringing the shoulder to the floor and extending the top arm over the ear, the hips staying above the knees, and feeling the stretch here across the shoulders. Coming back to center and changing sides. And back to center, to the back of the mat, into a kneeling position. And on an inhale, we rise. On an exhale, we're flexing through the hips as we bring the head and the chest towards the floor. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. So keeping this movement flowing in time with your own breath. 2 more breaths. And then settle into a kneeling position. And turn towards the left. So into rotation. And then turning your head in the opposite direction. So we're bringing through the body, twisting through the body. Coming back to center and we're changing sides, turn into the other side. And again the gaze in the opposite direction. Coming back to center, we're bringing the left hand to the side of the head as we take the arm away from the body and we're pushing the head into the hand. 2 slow deep breaths. Release and change sides. Changing sides. And last one. And release. From this position, we're coming into kneeling lunge pose. So if you need luxury under the knees, then do put your blanket there. Otherwise, stepping your foot forwards. Starting up high, hands onto the knee. And sinking the hips forwards. Bring the hands to the floor and we're pulling the hip back as we straighten the front leg. Stretching into the calf and the hamstring. And then shift the weight forwards, one hand either side. And once again, pulling the hips back, but this time keeping the sole of the foot to the floor. And then turn the foot into the center. Bring the foot back to its normal position and then out to the side. We're just feeling a different stretch into the muscles in the back of the leg. And then bring the foot back to its normal position. Once again, we're shifting the weight forwards. And this time, both hands to the inside. Sinking the shoulder down beside the knee. Sliding that foot back and we're changing sides. So once again, starting up high. Fingers to the floor. Pull the hip back as we straighten the front leg. Shift the weight forwards, one hand either side. And again, pulling the hips back, we're straightening the leg, keeping the foot to the floor. And turn the foot into the center. And then out to the side. Bringing the foot back to the floor, and we're bringing the weight forwards, both hands to the inside. Sinking the hips down. Sliding the leg back out. Coming on to your bottom. And the feet as wide as the mat, the hands behind you. And just rocking the legs now side to side. And then bringing yourself into cobbler's pose. So a square shape with the legs, the knees dropping out to the sides. We're going to focus a little bit on the arms here. We're going to start by bringing the arm across the front of the body. Feeling the stretch into the shoulder, around the socket of the arm into the shoulder. Releasing and changing sides. And release. Taking hold of your elbow, we're going to drop the arm down the middle of the back, bringing the hand between the shoulder blades. Releasing and changing sides. And release. Making your way onto your front. So we're going to start in our crocodile position, the feet as wide as the mat turned out to the sides, the forearms across the mat and the head onto the arms. So we're into our most gentle version of our back bends, and we're just going to let the hips sink into the floor. And whilst you're here, slowly turn the head side to side, massaging the brow and releasing any tension into the neck. Bringing the head back to centre, bring the legs back in. And bringing the hands under the shoulders, rolling the shoulders back and down. Pushing the hips into the floor, we're slowly lifting the head and the chest away from the floor. Into our baby cobra position. As you exhale, release back to the floor and back into our resting position. So again, bringing the legs back in, the hands under the shoulders. Let's see if we can lift up a little bit higher this time. Shoulder blades back and down, push the hips into the floor and start to lift as high as feels right for you. And once again, back to the floor and back into our resting position. And then one more back bend here before we move into child's pose. We're coming into Sphinx pose. The arms out in front, we're pushing into the arms, letting the chest release forwards, keeping the head lifted, extending the neck out of the shoulders. And slowly lower back to the floor, back into our resting position. Bringing the hands under the shoulders, the legs back in, and slowly pushing back up into cat pose. And then from here, walking the hands around to the right as you keep the hips above the knees. Feeling the stretch down the side of the body. Slowly back to center and change sides. And then back to center, bring the feet together, the knees as wide as the mat. We're sinking the bottom to the heels. Coming into child's pose, the fingertips together, and then bringing the hands over the head, the thumbs to the back of the neck. So as the bottom releases to the feet, at the same time the chest is releasing closer to the floor. Releasing the arms. Back onto the hands and knees for a moment for a little bit more cat and cow. And then back to a flat back, the hips above the knees. We're bringing the left arm across the mat, the other arm extended on top. And we're lowering the head onto the arm. So there's a stretch here into the shoulder. At the same time, we're also focusing onto the upper back, into the thoracic spine, as we let the chest release towards the floor. Slowly rise and changing sides. So the arm across the floor, the other arm on top. And again, we're sinking the chest towards the floor. Rising back up and once again into child's pose, and this time the arms extended and we're turning the hands, the palms up to the ceiling and stretching through the fingers. Rising back up now and bringing yourself into side saddle position. And once again, we're coming into rotation. Back to center and folding along the length of the leg, bringing the arms to the floor, feeling the stretch into the hip, into the buttock. Slowly rise and change sides. Into rotation to start. And then folding over the leg, the arms to the floor. Rising back up and then grabbing your blanket. Take your body with you, Jess. Grabbing your blanket, creating a chunky log shape. And bring that to your lower back, feet to the floor. And then dropping the body to the floor. So we're into a supported bridge pose. Have a little shuffle till you're comfortable. And then slowly as you inhale, letting the arms come up over the head, the back of the hands to touch the floor. As you exhale, slowly bringing the arms back over until the palms touch the floor. Inhale, slowly lifting the arms. And exhale, lowering back to the floor. And just keep this movement flowing now in time with your own breath. Two more times. And then from here, still supported onto your blanket, bring the knees into the chest. Hug them in as tightly as you can and just feel the stretch here into the back. Bringing the feet back to the floor, moving the blanket to one side and then lowering the bottom back to the floor. And just notice the space that's created, the difference of sensation in the spine. Rising back up, and we're changing the shape of our blanket now to a thinner sausage shape. And we're bringing this across the mat. And as we lay back, it's going to be just below the shoulder blades. You can either take the legs wide or bring the soles, the feet together. And we're letting the arms here just drop out to the sides. Slowly rising back up. And for our last position, turning the blanket around so the short end is at the base of the spine. And once again, we're laying ourselves down. The spine supported by the blanket, the arms to the sides. Have a little shuffle until you're comfortable. So the spine is gently supported. And just let yourself relax and sink into the floor. Focusing the breath deep into the belly. And then focusing the let the feet be as wide as your mat. Let them drop out to the sides. The arms down beside you, palms facing the sky. Closing the eyes. And as you take a deep breath, clench the hands into fists. Lift them up to the sky and let them drop. Screw up the face and let the tension go from the brow, the cheeks, the tongue and the jaw. Pull in the belly and release. Clench the calves and the thighs and let that last bit of tension go. With each outward breath, feel yourself sink deeper and deeper into the floor. This is your time to relax. Start to bring the awareness back into the body. Start to wriggle the fingers and the toes. And as you take a deep breath, have a full body stretch. Stretch the arms and the legs. And then slowly roll over onto one side, keeping the eyes gently closed. And when you're ready, slowly bring yourself back up to seated, keeping the eyes closed. And slowly open the eyes. Thank you and thank yourself.